We mentioned Lou Harrison. One of the very major pieces of John's that we'll hear during the course of this festival, happily paired with music of Lou's, is a piece called For Lou Harrison. Talk about how you met Lou and also how that friendship in whatever ways helped form you, and then the writing of this piece.
I think it was 1972. Again, this is all roads lead to LA. 1972, I won a prize for a little piece for the American Guild of Organists. The local chapter had a composition contest, and I wrote a little piece that won a prize. And Lou was already a hero of mine musically. I already knew his music and admired it, but the $250 prize was great, but when I learned that the judge was Lou Harrison, that was it. I thought I'd won the lottery. And I figured that it entitled me to permanent, unlimited access to the judge. So I made the pilgrimage to Aptos, where Lou and Bill received me like visiting royalty. And so began a 30 plus year friendship. I can't say that I studied with Lou Harrison, but I can say that Lou Harrison and James Tenney were my principal teachers. And not just about music, but about so many other things. I mean, it's, as you were discussing in the previous session, Lou was, I think it's no exaggeration to say that Lou Harrison was a great spirit in that sense. So when he died, it was, as it was for so many of us who were his children, it was kind of unimaginable that the great redwood had fallen. And there was this great wave of grief, of course, but it couldn't last very long because Lou's music and his life were just so utterly joyous and expansive. And of course, that's what we're left with. That's what we all have, is this extraordinary body of music and this extraordinary spirit that lingers and lives on in the lives of so many people who have been touched by Lou's music and by Lou personally. So sometime after Lou died, which was what, 2003? Mm-hmm. I had a dream, and it was a vivid musical dream in which I heard a big piece. I was rehearsing a big new piece for chorus and gamelan. And it was my piece, and I could hear it. In the dream? In the dream. And I got up and I wrote down what little fragments I could retain. And I got on the phone. I called Jody Diamond, and I can't remember who else, but I started sending emails out, and I thought, well, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going for Lou. I'm going to write this big piece for gamelan and chorus. Kind of an uncanny resemblance to La Chorus Sutra, his great piece for gamelan and chorus. And I started setting things into motion to make this happen. And then as time went on, and all the doors were opening, but as time went on, I started to think, well, this is pretty presumptuous of you, John. I mean, I played in the gamelan at Cal Arts, but I'd never been of the gamelan. I'd never been part of the culture of gamelan, the way that so many people are. And so who was I to make my first piece for gamelan an homage to the master of the American gamelan, right? So I thought better of it. And somehow along the way, I stumbled onto this orchestration of string quartet, string orchestra, and two pianos. And I wrote this piece. I had no commission, and I wasn't commissioned. I was compelled to write it.
And it's a big piece. It's about an hour long.
It's a big piece, a 60, 65-minute piece.
So that's quite a compulsion.
I do tend to have these big, these big ideas. And I wrote it, and I was pretty pleased. And I remember I was sitting one night at the piano, kind of plunking through it. Remember, I didn't practice, so when I was a kid, so I don't play very well. But I was kind of picking through this one section, and I stopped, and I just laughed because I realized it sounded like gamelan. And I could just hear Lou with his belly laugh. Got you. Trick on you. John Luther, as he always called me. So that's kind of the story of the piece.